Hi, my name is Rebekah Shaman, and this is my update for 2022. So 2022 kicked off on the 2nd of January with the Capricorn new moon, and a really brilliant way to kick off this year. The Capricorn new moon really reminding us to remain persistent and tenacious and to keep on keeping on regardless of what's happening on around us and in the external world, and inspires us with creativity and that really earthy energy to become practical and to get things done. A beautiful way to kind of kick off after 2021 was so challenging for so many of us. Represented by the mountain goat, the Capricorn new moon really also reminds us that however difficult it may be out there, however challenging the cliff face may be, to have faith and trust that Mother Earth, the universe, God, whatever you like to call it, is looking after you, protecting you, and supporting you on your journey. And to be able to just keep on putting the next step forward moment to moment, to overcome any huge obstacles or challenges you may be facing now. We've got some amazing planetary aspects happening this year, which is making what I call 2022 the year of illumination. And we can divide this decade up into 2 year cycles. The first cycle was March equinox 2020 to winter solstice 2021. And the transition now between winter solstice 2021 and March equinox 2022 is kind of like a pause period of integration and reflection. And March equinox 2022 to winter solstice 2023 is the next big cycle, with that pause between winter solstice 2023 to March equinox 2024. And then we can see that incrementally every 2 years. And this is how we will be able to understand what's happening in this decade. So it kicked off really in the March equinox 2020 with the coronavirus pandemic. And now in March equinox 2022, this new energy is coming onto the planet, this new cycle. And with this new cycle is going to come an awareness, an illumination, where we can start seeing beyond the illusion. We're going to start seeing what's really happening, working and through the information and the misinformation and the confusion and the chaos. As things come to light, that is going to make sense of what's been happening and enable us to make more informed decisions. Because with all the confusion out there, it's very difficult to know what decisions to make and how to move forward. And so what this 2 years as cycle is going to be showing us is to be resilient to what's happening to the external and to get very focused on what's happening internally. Because the clearer you are of who you are, the clearer you know the path that you're walking and what you want to manifest or what you want to create, the easier it is to be able to do that regardless of what's happening externally. And this is going to help us navigate the chaos and confusion as we head deeper into the darkness. One of the great planetary aspects that are happening this year to help and ignite this great illumination is Jupiter in Pisces. That happens every 12 years. And this year we are going to see a huge shift in consciousness as Jupiter really takes all the positive benefits of Pisces and illuminates them and expands them. And Pisces is the sign, the last sign of the zodiac, but it's the sign of the altruistic, caring, nurturing person that thinks of the collective before themselves and really wants to delve into the mysteries of what's happening on the planet, what's it all about, who am I and why am I here? So more and more of us will be looking at those existential questions that may have been lurking in the back of our mind will come definitely to the forefront now. And we are in a beautiful time in the world where the mysteries are open to everyone at a click of a button. So there are so many different ways of exploring what this might mean for you, your place in the world, who are you, and how do you fit into the greater collective? Because what we're seeing right now on the planet is a sixth mass extinction, and many of our plants and animal species are really in an extinction phase, and we are also going to be part of that extinction phase, because we are part of the collective that makes up this planet, and we cannot avoid the extinction that's happening to our planet, and we are part of that. And for me, the coronavirus really is the start of this extinction process, this virus that has really swept across the population, across the planet, and wiping out many of the weak and the vulnerable, like we're seeing in the rest of nature. And my feeling is that it will constantly start mutating and changing, and we really need to start accepting that this is a virus that has been created because of our relationship with Mother Earth is so toxic, and we need to start changing this toxic relationship with Mother Earth in order to really start understanding our place in the planet. Now, in indigenous communities, they don't make a decision until they see how it's going to affect 7 generations down. So every decision they make it for the 7th generation down. And we're not even making decisions for the next 10 years. And so what we've done is that we've just fed our ego need for comfort and ease, and we haven't really thought about how that might affect the future generations that are coming afterwards, and how it might affect the greater collective, all the living creatures that share our planet with us. And so what we're seeing is this nature's need for us to really wake up to our really important role on this planet as stewards, to look after this planet for future generations, and not only look after our own species, but also all the other species that live symbiotically in harmony with us. So this is really the illumination, the wake-up call for humanity. So it's you could almost see it as the contractions of the birthing process. We're birthing this new consciousness from separation consciousness to unity consciousness, and that's always going to create challenges, as we have to become comfortable in the uncomfortableness of things that aren't in unity breaking down. And that's many of our systems will start breaking down as we start moving consciously towards more unity and our understanding that we are one with the planet, we are one with all living things, and what we do to ourselves we do to the planet, and what we do to the planet we are doing to ourselves. Once we come to that awareness, then our behavior changes, and we become much more healthier individuals, and much more healthier for the collective. And this shifts and changes our relationship and the consequences of our actions on Mother Earth and all living things. So actually, even though this is quite a dark and stormy time, it's also an incredibly exciting time. It's a time of change. And my father always said, don't look at what's breaking down, look at what's breaking through what's breaking down. So as things break down, great, amazing things are breaking through, and it really needs to break through. We're going to see much more impassionate and compassionate leadership, and shift out of this need to have everything for our own ego desires, and actually recognize that we're going to have to put some of those ego desires to the side in order to really protect the all living things that share this planet with us, and to keep a planet healthy for future generations. So 2022 is going to be another interesting year, but I do feel it's going to one that's going to be very exciting, because also it's a 222, so it's a number 6, so it's all about the feminine principle, the feminine element. So again, bringing in that empathic, compassionate energy into the planet. And also it's a very good one for creativity, for business, and for sharing our visions and our ideas with each other. So a really nice year for pollination, collaboration, and all the things that are needing to birth in this new consciousness. But specifically for this month of January, we have Mercury going retrograde on the 14th of January to the 4th of February. So technologically, things could go a bit haywire, especially as it's in Capricorn and Aquarius. Really suggest not making or signing any deals during this time, or making any agreements, as things may look very, very different as we come out of the Mercury retrograde. Also, it could be a few miscommunications as well. So avoiding making any contracts with anybody, because you may find that come the end of Mercury retrograde, it doesn't look nearly as good as it did on paper at the beginning. And you might find travel communications going wonky, and yeah, lots of technological haywire. So that's coming up. We also have Venus going retrograde, which means it looks like it's going backwards in the sky. That happened on the 29th of December to the end of the month, and it may have for you and have influence over your relationships. So for you might have found that you might have been connecting with somebody and suddenly they've gone cold, or they've ghosted you, or suddenly you're not connecting with your lover anymore, and whereas you were magnets connecting, now you're repelling. That can often happen with a Venus retrograde. It can also bring up old wounds. Pluto's also in Capricorn, which is influencing this even more, which means that we're getting old wounds coming up to the surface, old relationship wounds that we're still needing to deal with. So even though you feel you might have dealt with old relationship wounds or old relationships that were quite toxic and you've let them go in the past, it might be coming up a little bit just to complete those processes. So not to see it as a step backwards, but to see it as a way of just cleaning out the clutter. And importantly, not clinging to the past. This is a really good year to see this as a reset. However horrible and difficult the last 2 years have been, 2020 and 2021, seeing 2022 as a new reset, a new cycle, and a new beginning will enable you to choose maybe different decisions as we move down the year. So as all rivers only flow forwards, it's about turning your attention forwards now into what you want to create this year. So if you haven't done it yet, a really good exercise at this around this time is to just put down kind of where do you want to be in 2023. What is your 3 priorities that you would like to achieve? What are the dreams that you would like to see manifested? When we hone our intentions into specific focuses, wherever we're paying attention, it's much easier then to focus the energy towards that. Just like a captain of a ship starts their travel, let's say to America, they know that they're going to America, they know that's their destination, and they can have their ship and it can all be prepared with what they need, the right food, the water, medicines, blah, blah, all of that. But once they're on the sea, they have to rely on the wind and the tide and the currents to get them to their destination. And likewise, life works a bit like the same. We can set our intentions, but sometimes, and then we have to rely on nature to guide us there. And sometimes it can be a bit stormy. And there's a beautiful moment in Moana where she's on her mission to give the heart back to the mountain, and she calls for help because she's just feeling very desperate, and a storm comes and capsizes her, and she feels like she's being crucified by life for being on this mission, and actually it's the storm that sweeps her up onto the beach where she can meet the demigod that she's been looking for. So likewise, life is very much like that. Sometimes our storms that come into our life are actually our blessings. And after every storm comes enormous, huge growth. So if there is a big storm at the moment in your life, focusing on whether you can see the rainbows within that storm, whether you can see the blessings in that storm, and trusting really that life has your back. And I think that's the key here on this month, is just trusting your intuition, trusting your instincts, trusting what your inner voice is saying. The more we can trust our intuition, the more we can trust our instincts, the more we know which step to take next. Because trying to work it out from a rational point of view is becoming almost impossible with all the chaos and confusion that's happening in the external world. So when we know where we want to go and we've set our course, then our intuition will guide us to the next step. And all creatures on this planet have an instinctual nature, have an intuitive nature, and we do too, but we have weakened it by really creating a very strong, rational, scientific mind, and we don't use it enough. And really, intuition is like a muscle. We need to use it on a constant basis to make it strong and really flexible. So this is a good year to start really trusting that intuition, and you can do that through mindfulness, through meditation, through walking in nature, finding times in silence. And when you get a strong message come through, follow it up. If someone pops into your mind, follow it up. If you've got to feel a very strong calling to do something, follow it up. Because often the heart doesn't really have a rational reason for why it's giving you the message, or you might not understand it. And that's because the heart is connected to the collective. The heart is connected to every species, every human on the planet, and our egos are very much around our individual self. And when we make decisions connected from our hearts, we're making it with awareness that we're connected to the collective. And also that collective obviously includes nature and the universe and God, whatever you want to call it. So it really helps us to navigate through the chaos, utilizing the heart. Now, if you have a difficulty knowing what the difference is between your heart and your ego, taking a pause and saying to yourself, what would love do? Before you're having to make a decision, what would love do? It's a really simple technique, but it is really, really powerful, because the moment we bring ourselves back to that reminder that we are love, then our decision can be very, very different. So just utilizing that will really help you to make some decisions that might be really challenging and tough at the moment, but also very, very heart-centered, so that you will feel a sense of deep calm and connection. When we make decisions from the ego that is going to hurt or harm anything else on the planet, we feel it inside ourselves. We're not aware of that we're feeling it, but we are feeling it. So honing your intuition, your instinctual nature is going to be really handy as we go through this next 2-year cycle between 2022 and 2024. And igniting your creativity this month. If you've got a feeling to do something creative like drawing or writing your book or doing poetry or singing, whatever is inspiring you, this is a great time to do it. And then we will have the Cancer full moon, and that is going to bring in a much more focus on emotional family, where we fit in with our families and where we connect with ourselves, our families, and the greater whole as well. It can be a bit more emotional than this moon, but it is going to guide us through any emotional stuff that might have come up through the Venus retrograde. So it's all really around relationships, that moon. I am really excited for this year. I really feel that now we've gone through the beginnings of what I call the birthing contractions, and we're starting to understand what's happening. We can really utilize the knowledge of what we've come from to focus forward to the next 2 years. So wherever 2022 takes you, bringing you with more love and less fear. If you are feeling anxious or worried, then turning off social media, turning off the television and the news, going out into nature, doing a mindfulness course, drinking cacao, finding ways to manage the stress and anxiety when it comes up. It can come up in waves, and there might not be anything that actually sparks it. It's the mind trying to hook on to something that it knows. And if the last 2 years have been very, very challenging and difficult and dark, then your mind is going on what it knows. So it's presuming that it's going to be the same moving forward. But if you focus 2022 on a more positive trajectory, in that you have a more focused idea of where exactly you want to take this year, and with an awareness that you are co-creating with the universe, and you're actually working with life to co-create whatever's happening in your world, then it's going to become much easier to manifest and create on this three-dimensional level your dreams and visions. It's whether you feel you deserve it or not, and where your self-worth is. So another really good exercise for this month is just tuning into your solar plexus, imagining a golden yellow object in your solar plexus, and just allowing yourself to see that golden object, that golden yellow object, getting stronger and stronger, and kind of flooding your body with yellow light, and really just tuning into how much you feel you deserve your visions and dreams coming true. Because when we have self-worth, then we feel we deserve anything that we kind of can desire. And we are in a privileged situation here in the UK, in that the possibilities for us to create our realities are much easier than in other parts of the world. So wishing you all a wonderful 2022 and a creative and enlightening January. Remember to keep shining bright. The world needs your light, and there's so much help and support out there. So don't feel that you have to do this alone. Whatever you're needing, you just need to set out an intention. If you're looking for a teacher, or you're looking for support, or there's something that sparks you, just tuning in, closing your eyes, setting your intention that you're going to find the right person to help you on your journey, and then letting life guide you to exactly where you need to be. And if you follow that process in anything you need, you will find that this year will be a beautiful, exciting, and very, very enjoyable 2022. So remember to keep shining bright. The world needs your light. Until the next time. Bye for now.